All right. Hopefully, there's some guys joining in. My other live stream broke, since so I had some issues. So I'm gonna just leave everyone a message to jump on the new one. All right. Oh, sorry about that. My gosh, what a bummer. I'm gonna jump on to my other live stream, or this live stream, so I can monitor the chat and all that stuff. So, and I don't have anything to hold this camera, my phone up, unfortunately. So it's you got a nose cam going on. My apologies. All right, so let's see. Just gonna wait for some other folks to join in. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this other live stream I have going on so I don't confuse anyone. How y'all doing tonight, by the way? All right. Videos, live, and let's cancel this one. I can't cancel it, but I got 31 people in the other one. Isn't that awesome? Let's see if I can cancel this. Oh well, I can't figure out how to cancel this other one, the first one that I have going on, the broken one, so we'll just get to it. I'm going to show y'all something. This is pretty crazy. So I had it all set up, but I'm going to turn the camera around. You can see the setup I had for this. And unfortunately, all this fancy equipment doesn't work. So, well, at least not right now. Probably user error, but what can you do? All right. All right, we got some people joining in from the other one. Hey, Grayman Media, what's going on, man? I am going to my live stream on YouTube right now on my laptop here, so bear with me for a sec. All right, and I apologize for the. Ooh, let me turn that off. There we go. All right. All right, so I do have an agenda for the live stream, which I was planning to put together until I ended up spending about 1,000 hours putting this whole set together, but now we just got a phone, so, but you know, it's a live stream, so it's all good. Let's see here. All right, so I'm going to talk about a few things that are pretty exciting for me, and I'll get to some questions. I know a lot of y'all have questions for me, which is really awesome, and I'll get to those questions here shortly, but I'm going to first go over the show content that I'm going to be putting out this weekend, and new upcoming material that I'm going to be putting out as well, in addition to Then and Now, which is the newest show. But I'm going to have another swig at this drink. How y'all doing tonight? Yeah, Grayman, yeah, man. I hear you on that, yeah. It's funny, doing the whole retro commercials thing is it's caught on with a lot of YouTubers and content creators, which is great because it kind of grows this community. But at the same time, they don't do anything but that, which is, I get it. There's a lot of purists out there who just love to watch commercials and video rips, but it's nice. It would be nice to see other content like the face to the channel and maybe some offshoot stuff that's related to commercials, which is what I'm working on. But yeah, it's funny you don't see anybody else doing that, and I wish they would. I would love to collaborate with some of those guys. I don't know. We'll see. You're welcome, Inari, for definitely you're welcome for the content I put out. Yeah, I love it too. Nostalgia is like it's at my age at least. It's probably one of the most amazing things to explore because you get to rekindle those past memories and those emotions that go with it. You're welcome. Tango and Cash. Michael G. I don't know if you're serious or not, but it's not a bad movie. But you're probably one of my favorite commenters on my channel, man. Just to let you know. Yeah. Yes, the '80s are one of my favorite, best decades. The Stevening. Anemoia. Wasn't born in the '80s. I still love the compilation you put out. It's not nostalgia, but Anemoia. I don't know what that is, Ace. But yeah, maybe put the definition in there. I'll understand what you're saying. Let's see. Okay, so we got 20 folks in here. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the content and sharing with y'all guys the new stuff I'm putting out. So then and now. So I put out kind of an intro video a couple days ago or a few days back about then and now. And really, it started off as a sister channel that I was creating because I wanted to put new content out that was nostalgia and retro related, but was different from the commercials that I do. But then I decided just to keep it all the same field, I guess, with what I do, just to kind of stir up my channel. I don't want to be that, oh, he's the other commercial guy, which is fine. I mean, a lot of people are good at that, and a lot of people love watching channels that do that sort of thing, but I've been doing it since 2014, and it's definitely time to change things up a bit and provide some new content for you guys that I think's exciting, and hopefully y'all think's exciting. So, Then and Now, in a nutshell, well, let's not say nutshell, but Then and Now is a new show. It's going to be a segment that's around 13 to 15 minutes long, and it's going to really be about commercials still, but it's going to focus more on a comparison of commercials from the past, from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and how they compare to today's commercials. Anything that's modern, such as 2010 and up. And the fun thing about it, it's kind of like, I guess you can think about the show Funniest Home Videos, or whatever that 80s show was, where they would show these funny videos and they will kind of comment on them and then maybe comment on a comparison of how they are, but it's something like that. But it's not going to be as funny because I'm not really that funny. But it's going to be more just fun, entertaining comments on the commercials and the ads and how they compare. These decades, the separation of the cultures between the '80s and today, for example, and how different these ads have changed. Because it's just not us that's changed as people. It's really marketing's changed a lot to reflect how our culture is. And it's funny when you reflect on that and see that with the commercials from the past and today. The hokey jingles they do in the '80s, a la da 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 da. It's almost like they're on a kind of like a Broadway show or something. And then today it's more about storytelling and kind of serious, and the sarcasm with the humor and stuff like that, whereas in the '80s and stuff the humor was a little bit more honest and open and you don't have to think as much. And I'm not saying either is a good or bad thing, but they definitely strike memories when you see the old commercials and how they compare to today. So that's really the gist of the show, and I'm going to be covering probably around 4 or 5 comparisons. For example, I'll probably do 1985 to modern commercials of this brand, Pringles, for example, and then maybe I'll compare airline ads of yesterday and compare them to today. You don't really see that many airline ads today, and you know, those headache ads and Dexatrim weight loss ads from the 80s, and compare them to weight loss commercials of today. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You don't really see people talking about that, and I definitely think about it, and so that's why I put the show together, because it's really a fun thing to talk about and compare. So that's a new show in a nutshell. And I hope you all enjoy it. It's going to come out Sunday afternoon, and I don't know exactly what time yet. It depends on how quickly I can put everything together and get it edited up. But it's going to definitely come out this Sunday. And yeah, so it's going to be a really good show, I think. Other stuff. One sec. It's Friday night, guys. I mean, come on. Cheers, by the way. I got some questions here. Let me look at these questions real quick. Thanks, Stephen. I appreciate it. I'm a 70s baby, by the way. I think, who said that? Ace, yeah. I'm a 70s baby, but I kind of grew up, I have a lot of memories from the 80s. I think 70s folks most likely have a lot of memories from the 80s and even the 90s. I have a lot of memories from the 90s. RAW, Yard Lion Channel. What's up, man? Yarnell, what's up going on? Hey, by the way, guys, if y'all like retro commercials and kind of mashups, check out RAW. He's on YouTube. He has a couple channels, but check out REW, Yard Lion Channel. Really awesome guy, really nice guy. He has really a lot of original stuff out there. I think a lot of your commercial vlogs came from soap opera broadcasts. Was your family a soap? Okay. Shinobi, Oakley Shinobi asked me if my family is a soap opera watching family. They are, but I didn't get tapes from that. They were. Oh my God. They would nonstop watch Dynasty, Dallas, all that stuff. I mean, it was nonstop. And they recorded it too. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those tapes, but a lot of my tapes did come from opera time. I'm soap opera time. I do have copyright issues. A lot of my old material has copyright issues. The stuff that, so a lot of my newer content, you'll notice that I have a lot of filler. That's Dave Archives filler. Really, it's my commercials that I put inside of these commercial blocks. Some people hate it and they hate me for it, you know, but whatever, I don't care. Excuse me. I thought it was fun to do that. And I'll talk about Patreon too later. I know a lot of people were talking about that, and I got some hate comments on that, which is funny, but I wish I should have copied and pasted them somewhere. But what was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying. So soap opera ads, yeah. I have a lot of tapes with soap operas on them. Totally forgot what I was saying. Everything's too self-aware now. Yes, that's true. Congratulations on your channel, but I feel it would be better if someone had promos featuring 1998, featuring BET movies and stars. Meet Proctor. I agree, Meet. Unfortunately, I don't have... It's hard to find any BET-related tapes. And that goes with MTV, VH1. I barely have anything of that. I maybe have like one BET tape with Soul Train on it, and that's about it. But yeah, I wish I had more. My favorites from your videos are cartoon entrants. A member all keep up with the good job. Thank you, Ineri Aguirre. Thank you very much. Yes, I have a lot of cartoon stuff I will be putting out in the future. Best year, 74. Best year. I'm 76. Should I be saying that on the air? I don't know. Who cares? Dave, what are some fave hot models and commercials that you have stand out? Let me put this closer, guys. What are some fave hot models and commercials you have that stand out? For instance, Cindy Crawford soda commercial. Ooh. There's I'm really bad with names, and there's this actress who did a pantyhose commercial who was in quite a few movies from the '80s. I can't remember her name. I wish I could, but she was. Oh my god, that was a really good pantyhose ad. Anyway, yeah, Cindy Crawford's great. She has good stuff. The commercials from back then were way more fun. I even saw someone post an '80s commercial for Steak and L. Oh my god, y'all remember Steak and L? That was such an awesome restaurant. I mean, I went there a few times as a kid. My mom took me. Steak and L, Fridays, TGI Fridays. So many restaurants that I miss. So many. Let's see. I don't think you saw my earlier question. Where did you get your hat? Oh, I got it off eBay about 7 years ago. So I can't really recommend the seller, but I got my Top Gun hat. It's the only retro hat I own, so I thought I'd wear it, but I got it from eBay. Soul Train is still fun to watch. I don't know if they still air Soul Train, but yeah, I'm sure it would. The dancing is a lot of fun to watch, that's for sure. Did you get to check out the CBS Sunday night movie stuff going on? No, Michael G. You did tell me about that. Michael G, by the way, guys. Give Michael G an applaud. He has some of the most interesting comments on my stuff. Awesome guy, by the way. No, I haven't yet. And it was Sunday night, was it? Sunday night. So this Sunday, I will try to watch that. I promise. Because I'm really interested. Maybe I want to record it. Maybe I can record it on VHS, because these VCRs still record. Sorry for the typo. John Cornelius. Remember gadgets and Warmer Bros cartoon-themed restaurants? I don't. I'm from Texas, by the way, guys, so my demographic may not have some of the things that y'all had back in the day. Hey, Turbo Z, how... Rickto! Rick! We need to do podcasts, man. I meant to follow up with you on Discord, but I will. Today I have to leave, but I hope to see more of your job. You're doing great. Please bring us more of the Saturday morning cartoons. I will, Neri Aguirre. Thank you very much for watching and supporting. Hills at Savvy Bear. Hey, Retro Days in the house. Retro Days. Retro Days, by the way, is one of he is one of my founder Patreon guys who supports his channel quite a bit, and y'all need to check out retrodays.com. And he's really deep in the retro community, as some of y'all may know. So please check out his stuff. He's got a YouTube channel too. I don't have it on me, but if you go to retrodays.com, you can find that. Never shopped at Hills, but I did Ames. Howdy, Ricto. Cool. What was your favorite cartoon growing up, and were they? Any shows were you banned from watching? Mary Stankovich. Sorry, I ruin names sometimes. What was your favorite cartoon growing up, and were there any shows you were banned from watching? My favorite cartoon growing up was definitely the Japanese stuff. So I watched in the late 80s. I loved Voltron. I loved Macross or Robotech. And I loved, of course, Thundercats and the mainstream stuff. But it was really those Japanese import things that I really miss, or I really enjoyed watching. The sucky thing about it was when I came back from school, I always missed when those darn things would start. I would try to get home from school as quickly as possible, and I'd jump off the bus and run to my house. And I remember I only being able to watch like 12 minutes of those episodes, because they would air just before I got out of school. It never fell. It was never, and I didn't have a VCR back then. Can you believe that? I didn't have a VCR. Jeez, that sucks. If I only had a VCR. The irony. Oh, man. I know my last name is hard to pronounce. I have Lithuanian ancestry. Yes, it's okay. Scott Bay after school special. Do parents in the ban the kids from watching stuff? Oh, and you asked, what did my parents not want me to watch? So, really nothing outside of porn. They were very open, and my dad took me to the theaters, and he would take me to the theater to watch movies he wanted to watch. So it was anything. I mean, anything went back then. I was like 10, 11, and rated R movies were, I didn't even realize there was ratings to movies because I saw them all. That's pretty funny, actually. Yeah. Yeah, there was no limits to my watching rated R stuff back then. A lot of horror stuff, that's for sure. Although I did watch a lot of horror stuff, I would cover my eyes like this half the time and close my ears, close my eyes. So, yeah. Will you be comparing technology product ads in the new series? Yes, actually, the first episode of Then and Now, and this episode, that question is from CLB. So the first episode, I'll be covering multiple products. So the comparisons are the same product maker. For example, Pringles, for example. But in the first episode, I'll be comparing HP, two HP commercials, one from 1984 and one from 2018, I believe. 2018 or 2016. But yes, to answer your question, yes. Kid watching scary stuff. Yeah. We would, as kids, we would cover our faces. Isn't that funny? I mean, and the funny thing is when we cover it, we'd leave a little slit open so that we could see just a corner, a sliver of the screen. That's funny. Yeah. David, talk about super mega retro dudes. You're my new best friend. Okay. Dave, talk a little about your old commercial restoration process and get the videos looking the best they can. And by the way, someone did ask me about that. He emailed me. I don't know if he's on right now, but I will get back to you about that because I absolutely love your channel. And, oh my God. I'll share his channel with y'all later in an upcoming episode. I'm doing a fun... I'm not going to spoil it now, but I'm doing something. It's going to be great. So when I don't want to get into the details of my tape restoration process. I know a lot of people here are mainly here just because they're here for nostalgia, and some of y'all are really into the technology side of digital transfer. But it took me about 5 iterations of trial and error to get my videos the way I wanted them to look when I transferred them from tape, from a VCR, onto my computer. And it was a lot of trial and error. I started off with off-the-shelf stuff, which was okay, but I had some timing issues. I'm not going to go into that because it's going to bore some people. But in a nutshell, right now I use some pretty... they're not off-the-shelf items. They're Black Magic hardware, these special splitters. I use Adobe Premiere. I export to a field monitor, which is used for cinema. So there's a lot of stuff going on to squeeze out as much quality as I can from my videos. And even the stuff you see on YouTube is like half the quality that I have before I upload it. But these, when I do end up transferring my material from these old VHS tapes and Betamax tapes, they look like DVD, honestly. And I can upscale them and they'll look really good in HD as well. But I will actually do a video later about that. So let's not talk about that now. Let's see. Old school Shinobi. Parents let me watch anything except porn and Faces of Death. I watched Faces of Death. Isn't that horrible? My stepdad brought back like 3 tapes of Faces of Death, and it made me sick, kind of. And thank God it wasn't real. Found out later, but that stuff was believable. I mean, seriously, Faces of Death is horrible, guys. It's like they try to make real death situations. They try to remake death situations so they look so real that you think they're real, but you don't ever know. but most of them are. Some of them I think are just, they are real, but they don't show everything. Anyway. Jason the World Wars, I never really watched horror. Okay. So I'm going to steer away from this real quick, from the questions and comments. I'm going to continue on my channel, and just a few other things I'm going to be doing, or a couple other things that I'm going to be doing that will be new content to just commercials. So I'm going to keep doing my commercials. I'm never going to stop doing that. It's something that I started my channel with in 2014, and it's something that I still absolutely love doing, because so you would think by now, after transferring hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tapes, that I would get sick of it by now, that I would be like, oh, I'm so over this. But the funny thing is, even though you do recognize a few of them every now and then, there's always new stuff out there. There's so much programming that has been lost or hasn't been digitally restored or transferred. And the sad thing about it is that it's going to be lost forever if not someone doesn't do it. And there's a bunch of tapes that have gone to junk piles, and most of those tapes have gone to junk piles, and very few people archive. So I'm always going to do archiving just for the sake of history, and because commercials, and I think, reflect a good part of our culture, our past, and our history. So that's important. But I'll always do commercials. And beyond the commercials with the new content, we already talked about then and now. And that, by the way, I'm going to be doing at least once or twice a month, depending. I do have a day job. I don't YouTube as a living. But I will try to put out 1 to 2 then and now. There's a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of production. And the other things will be reviews. So I'm going to be doing retro reviews, which I actually had a couple other YouTube channels before I started this one in 2014. Back in 2010, I had 1 or 2 where I was reviewing computer stuff and hi-fi audio, or like earphone stuff, cans, headphones, that sort of things. I was doing that back in 2011, but I gave up on it. But I'm going to go back to that, but with retro-related material. So I'm going to be doing things such as the original clapper, which I have the original 1984 clapper sealed brand new in the box. I got that off eBay a while back, and I will be unboxing it and reviewing it and seeing how it works out in today's world. I'm going to use some real-world testing on it. I have some other retro items that were sent to me. I have some products from New Wave Toys. I know a lot of people have been doing New Wave toy things, but I'll be reviewing those as well, because a couple of the items they sent me I think are totally badass. It's like a remake of a Sony Walkman, and then the other one is a change machine you would see in the old arcades back in the day, and I used to live in arcade rooms when I was a kid. And I'll be reviewing other things, such as this right here, for example. Let me pull this out. This, stuck on VHS, this book is totally awesome. I mean, it is amazing if you're into this sort of thing. So basically what it is, when you went to rental stores, you would see the stickers on them, and the stickers would label them as a horror movie, or this is a top hit, for example, or it's R-rated. So you see those little stickers on those rental tapes. Well, this guy put together this book that covers thousands and thousands of them, and the history of them, and just everything about them. And even at the very back, I'm probably ruining my review with this, there's actual stickers that you can take off. I mean, they're really nice quality too. Isn't that badass? Anyway, I don't want to ruin the review. So, great book. I'm going to be reviewing that, and another retro book, and just other retro stuff. So I'm going to be adding reviews to my content, which are retro-related reviews. Just retro stuff, nothing else. Just retro stuff, and that's it. And then the third thing is I'm going to be doing a lot more live cast. I love live streaming, what I'm doing now, just because I think it's always important to see the person behind the content, and I'm not. I don't want to do this just because, hey, look, it's me, Dave. It's not like I love my mug or anything like that, but I think it's good to communicate to you guys and talk to y'all on a one-on-one like this, because it's a lot of fun, and just having these chat sessions and just hanging out is a lot of fun. And I should collaborate more with these other retro YouTubers, and maybe do this stuff as well with some live streaming. But I'm going to be doing a lot more live streaming as well. So those are the three new things I'm going to be doing, which is, again, then and now, reviews, and more live streaming. So I'm going to look at some of y'all's questions. Actually, I have a list of questions that I meant to write down, but it's just in my head. So Patreon. Patreon, I just kind of, I didn't really announce it beforehand. I just went ahead and did it. Patreon is not, so just to clear the table, some folks think that I'm trying to make a career out of showing commercials, which is pretty funny, to be honest. But the truth is that I can't monetize YouTube. I can't monetize because everything I show that's commercial related is copyrighted. Someone already owns it. So I don't get money from YouTube at all. I get zero, zilch, nada, nothing. So, and I've been doing this 2014. Can you imagine someone doing this on YouTube for 6 or 7 years and not getting any type of return, which is fine because I've been doing it without any type of monetization, getting any type of monetized return. And now there's a lot of people who put out crazy stuff and they're doing just fine. So I don't get to monetize on YouTube. And the reason why I put Patreon out there, and I know I'm not going to make tons of money off Patreon, but Patreon is going to handle the costs of things like what I'm doing now. For example, let me show you. So before I started this live stream, I had this really nice setup going on, but I screwed up the audio. I can't get the audio to work. It was kind of last minute. But let me show you what I had it set up as. Whoops. Actually, let me just turn this camera. So I had this whole thing going on here. You got the camera in the center. That's like a A7R 2 or whatever. You got these studio lights. You got the stuff here, this equipment, this live streaming box, this mic. I had all this stuff set up for this one live stream. Well, not just this one, because I do plan on doing a lot more live streams. But that's what Patreon's going to pay for, is things like this, because I'm an old dude and I have a family, and I got to pay my bills, and my extra income will come from that. So that's what Patreon's for. It's for keeping this channel going, and I think that's important, and I think y'all enjoy what I do, so it's going to help for sure. And for those of you who do support me on Patreon, thank you so much, because it's going to really pay for a lot of this stuff that I need for the production part. So that's Patreon. And no, I'm not going to make $1 million off it. Some people say. It's so funny. No, I'm not going to make a living off it. I'm not going to quit my day job. All right, so moving on. What was the other thing I want to talk about? I can't remember. Oh, right. So I'm putting my Patreon ads and my Dave's Archives branding ads and that sort of thing into my commercials, and you'll see that with all my newer content. I'm doing that mainly to brand my channel and to grow the channel. It's not because I love seeing my material. It's not because I'm a narcissist. It's because I'm trying to brand my channel and grow it, and I'm trying to get more subscribers. I'm trying to get more followers. I'm trying to introduce this to people who don't know. So here's the thing. People don't get what I do until they see it, and when they see it and it strikes that nostalgia chord, then they're like, oh my God, I get it. And it's like that with everyone. People don't know they're into this sort of thing until they see it, and they start thinking about those memories, those pasts. And they start thinking, oh my God, I remember those days, and it was, gosh, I wish I could go back. It was so amazing. And it's those feelings that makes people want to watch this stuff, I think, for the most part. And I don't think a lot of people will know they're into it until they see it. So I'm really, really, really am trying to grow this channel so that people will expand their horizons and get into this sort of stuff. And it's just not my channel; it's everybody who does this sort of thing, all this retro stuff. I think retro and nostalgia is a really hot commodity right now that people are investing their personal time into, and it's really important, especially for me because I still love doing it, which is awesome. Okay, so that aside. Let's get to y'all's questions. So I'm going to scoot back with some of the comments here. I know I missed a ton of stuff. Excuse me. That's scotch or whiskey, by the way. That is Bullet whiskey. I don't know if y'all are whiskey drinkers out there, but it's good stuff. Let's see. Scott Baio, after school special. Rick Toe. Did parents in the 80s ban the kids from watching stuff? My parents didn't care at all what I was watching. That was from Rick Toe, or Rick Toe, or Rick Toe. Rick, I spoke to you the other day and I forgot your actual name, so I'm sorry if I'm mangling it with Rick Toe. Because I think of a toe when I say Rick Toe. Let's see. Yeah, my parents didn't care. Back then, I don't know what it was. The parents of the 80s didn't care what we watched. They were just like, whatever, let's just watch it and do it and get it done. And I want to watch this movie as an adult because I like it, but you're going to hang out with me, little child. Let's see here. Okay. Hello, the Sure Shannon Show. Hello, the Sure Shannon Show. Who is the guy that was source of the custom cutaways? Oh, okay. So a lot of y'all have been asking about, my God, I just had a brain fart. About the pirate dude that I've been putting in my commercials, Ray Stevens. So Ray Stevens, I've been putting him in my commercial bundles, my retro commercial episodes for the past 10 episodes or so. I was trying to, the reason why I put him in there is because when I first saw him on the tape, I was like, this would be like perfect Dave's Archives branding material just to add in between the commercials to kind of catch people off guard. It's just going to be, I thought it would be a lot of fun. Mainly because it was so hokey. I mean, it was so 80s cheese. I mean, it was perfect 80s cheese. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put this in my episodes. So that's what I did. And once I did it, every episode that I put up, I probably had around 10, 15 people comment and ask me and even message me personally and email me, who is that guy with the pirate hat? And why is he significant? And why is he in there? By the way, I love him. Stop that shit. It's like, what do you want? What do you want me to do? So that is Ray Stevens. He's a writer, comedian, producer, all-in-one 80s guy who was known mostly for his comedy and his television. I really don't follow him much, to be honest, but that one segment, there's like this one entire show that had him in there, which y'all see in the tapes, which y'all see in the newer episodes, with him and the pirate and the broadcast station, that I will probably just keep in there for a very, very long time because I really like it. And there's so many different pieces that I haven't even showed yet that come from the show. So anyway, that's Ray Stevens, guys. A lot of y'all have asked me that. Let's see. Napoleon costume. Isn't he great? I love it. It's just so cheese, man. It was the only comic I was subscribed to back up in the day. Okay. So where did I get the Ray Stevens clips? The Ray Stevens clips came off of a Houston-based off-air recording that my brother found for me at an estate sale. And the estate sale had a bunch of amazing tapes. And one of those tapes had a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but it had an entire segment, not a segment, but a show that Ray Stevens hosted. I don't know what the show is called because the beginning of the show was clipped. It didn't. It started maybe a minute in, so I'll never know what the show is or what the real source is. But it was basically a show that he did. That was late night that covered music. It was music videos, and it was made for not public, but national television or local television. Who knows? But that's where it came from. I've never seen it anywhere else. It's the only tape I have of it. Maybe I should sell it for $1 million because some folks think I'm becoming a millionaire. Anyway, so let's see here. What else we got? By the way, I don't sell any of my tapes. All of my tapes I have kind of squirreled away in parts of my house. My wife is downstairs. I don't want her to hear this, but I have like a storage area with my tapes in it. A storage room or storage closet. But tons of tapes. Tons. I don't know if I'll ever sell them. I have a lot of people asking me about it. The Mad commercials are just 3 minutes of legal disclaimer. How long have you been wearing glasses? Since I was... in 6th grade. Yep. No. Yeah. 6th or 7th grade. One of those two. Ray Stevens, they call him the Streak. How did a lot of old novelty songs back in the... why am I wearing Danger Zone after seeing Dave's hat? Why am I hearing... Oh, man. You know what I'm excited for? I'm excited for the new Top Gun movie that's coming out. Because the trailer really holds true to the entertainment value from what you see on screen that I think from the first movie. I mean, when you watch it, the directing, the cinematics, the acting, everything, it's a direct connection to the 80s movie as far as quality and value and stuff like that. My only knowledge of Ray Stevens is, okay, they call him the Streak. That was Salty Shellback. Salty, what's going on, man? Salty, I try to watch all your stuff. I love your videos, by the way. You should have a lot more followers, I think. And I want to see you eat more chicharrones. Chicharrones. I love chicharrones. Chicharrones, by the way, guys, are cracklins or pork cracklins. Really healthy. Ray Stevens show is called He Thinks He's Ray Stevens. Ah, Grayman Media, thank you for that. I'm going to look for that on YouTube and on Google. He thinks he's Ray Stevens. He thinks he's Ray Stevens. Hey, I love that you're doing old commercials. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Parise Jones, or Parise Jones. Thank you. Mr. Gone, you and Dave, love your channel. Thanks for keeping up the good work. Now, what's with Ray Stevens? Touch your nose, I dare you. See? Mr. Gone just chimed in. He's already asking about it. See, he missed it. He's going to have to rewind. I talked about it, by the way, Mr. Gone. And thank you for being a Patreon subscriber. You're a good commenter. I love your comments. Tom Cruise is a Looney Tune, but damn, he makes good movies. That's what Oh Cool Shinobi said. I want to go 1983 and watch Star Wars. Thanks for doing the live stream tonight. You're welcome, Mary, and thank you, Mary, for hanging on because there's like 27 people watching, so I'm surprised. Yeah, I thought I was gonna have my drink and be done with it, but I'll stay on as long as y'all are on. Cheers, by the way. I'm watching myself take that drink, and boy, that is not pretty. I want to go to 1983 so I can watch Star Wars Return of the Jedi in theaters. You know what's funny? So in 1996, I saw Star Wars, the original cinema reel, the original one that was showed in 1979 or 8 or whatever, the original. And this was in Japan. So in Japan, this small local cinema somehow had one of the original Star Wars unedited, unchopped up, horrible horrible special effects. At times, I thought literally someone got a sparkler and like kind of put the sparkler sparks into the special effects. It was horrible. I mean, it was. I was like, am I watching Star Wars? This is really. It was really bad. But you know, everybody's got to start somewhere. Let's see. Let's get 30 likes. 30 likes would be nice. Dave, do you have connections for getting old VHS tapes to commercials you use? Not asking for connections. Okay. Super mega retro dude. So I source my material or my tapes from different places. So mainly eBay. I try to snipe some of those bids as best I can, but there's folks that end up paying 10 times more than what I'm willing to pay. My limit, by the way, guys, I will not go over $20 for a lot of tapes. But some folks, some of the bids I put on there, and I watch the bids, the last few seconds, they go from $20 and they spike up in like 5 seconds to like $200, $300 for like 4 or 5 VHS tapes. I don't know who has that kind of cash to buy VHS tapes, but God bless you, and I hope you're doing something good with it, because that is like 4 bills for me. Dave, do you have connections? No, okay. I want. And by the way, I also not. It's just not YouTube. I mean, it's just not eBay that I get my tape from. It's yard sales, and it's I end up looking out at Goodwill, because Goodwill's not supposed to sell these tapes, but sometimes they kind of, I guess they get lazy and just put them up there and say, what the hell, I don't care, I'm not going to just, I'll just put it up there. And I end up finding off-air recordings on Goodwill as well. And I also find a bunch of tapes from, and here's a trick or a secret of the pros. If you're a VHS hunter or Betamax tape hunter and collects those sort of things, you can find an amazing variety of tapes at estate sales. So what I recommend doing is going to your scoping out local estate sales in your area and contacting the businesses that run those estate sales and tell them, I will give you $10 for any tapes you find at whatever house. If you have more than 10, 20 tapes, just make a deal with them. I'm not going to tell you how much, but you should deal with them. But when you do, that's the secret. Is you want to get with these businesses that do estate sales, and say, hey, I know you, because they threw out these VHS tapes. They throw them out. All those VHS tapes, Betamax tapes, CDs, regular tapes like music tapes, cassette tapes. They throw those things out. So get with those guys and tell them to put them aside for you, and you'll come pick them up on whatever day, and that you'll just give them whatever you agree on. And that's what I do for Houston. I'm in Houston, by the way. Let's see. What else we got here? Tapes from Detroit. I think I remember seeing maybe 2 or 3 tapes from Detroit. I don't have many. A lot from California, though. A lot from California. A lot from the East Coast as well. Brian 70Cuda. No worries, man. No worries. You're not late. The party's just getting started. Right, guys? All right. So I want to give a shout out to a few folks that are also retro content creators on YouTube. And I'm going to be doing an episode, which is going to be a really fun episode, that is going to cover all of my favorite retro content creators on YouTube. And it's going to span across certain like criteria. So I'm going to list all of my favorite retro commercial YouTubers. I'm going to do all of my favorite retro entertainment and news outlet YouTubers, all of the retro content creators who do kind of parody fun stuff, mashup type of YouTube retro content creators. So I'm going to basically pull together all of my favorites and make this badass episode so that y'all can kind of expand your YouTube subscriptions to these guys, because they're putting out some really good stuff, one, and two, our community definitely needs to grow more, I think. We're due for it, that's for sure. Grayman Media. I once had 100 tapes of Saturday and weekday cartoon episodes recorded from 1992 to 2004. Lost them all. Oh my God. Grayman Media. Oh my. That's I can feel heartburn coming up right here. Hearing you say that, man. Oh, I hate losing treasure like that. I think it's treasure. Some people not so much, but me, for sure. Adolfo Madrid, I'm not sure I found your channel, but I'm glad I did. Brings back memories of the way we were. That's right, Adolfo. The way we were, the way things were, the way we remember things. And you know what? Even though we may not remember everything the way they really were, maybe we embellish those memories a bit. But you know what? There are memories, and that's all that matters are ours. Mike Herbert, wow, kudos, sir. I thought you just had a bunch of beta tapes. You really took care of it. I had no idea that so much production went into it. Mike Herbert, yes. And you know what? It's all worth it. Thank you. Mary, I believe your channel was the second retro channel based on the one I subscribed to. 80s Commercial Vault was the first one. 80s Commercial Vault. So, I don't know the guy personally. Actually, I barely know anybody personally in the YouTube community that does retro content. 80s Retro Vault was the very first kind of with a lot. He was the very first YouTuber that I knew of that had a lot of subscribers when I started. And although I don't watch a lot of his material, I don't watch anyone's. Here's the thing: I have so much commercial content that I don't really watch anybody else's commercial content, and I'm sure that everybody else who creates commercial content is the same, because they're up to here with commercial content, you know. So it's not that I don't want to go out there and watch the content. It's just that I can watch my own. There's so much of it. But 80s Vault, going back to 80s commercials Vault, that guy, I don't know how many tapes he has, and I hope he's secretly watching my channel because I haven't seen him chime in or anything. But I don't know. He must have like literally 2 houses or 4 storage units full of tapes, because I don't know how he's getting so much material. Maybe he's recycling old recordings and mashing them up. I have no idea. I'm not going to say he's doing that. But that dude, I mean, he puts out so much stuff. Which good for him, but you know, you can only put out so much stuff. I mean, seriously. I mean, you're gonna have like 50,000 videos in like another couple of years, and you can't monetize any of those. Doesn't that suck? Anyway, we do it for the history. We're keeping the history intact. Let's see. Marcy Macy, I have some tapes. My parents wanted to throw them out years ago. I said no. You know what's funny? You put no with about 3 exclamation points, or for some reason it struck a chord or a memory. I'm going to be doing an episode. So, by the way, I don't know if y'all have noticed, I have 2 sets of commercial videos that I put out. Two brands, I guess you could say. One is just retro commercials, and then I have the iconic commercials of the past series. And I really haven't gone or explained what those differences are. One sec. So, the retro commercials episodes are basically direct rip from a single VHS tape. It's not like I'm grabbing commercials from this tape and this tape and this tape. It's I have one single tape. For example, I will take a single tape such as this. This one is someone asked me earlier, do you have a lot of soap opera commercials or soap opera tapes? Well, the funny thing is, this is a soap opera tape. It's Dynasty. So this is Dynasty 1984. And so what I do is I'll rip this entire tape, and then I'll put all the commercials out into my hard drive. And I'll cut out all the nonsense and just plop in the commercials into one series of commercials. And then I'll put that video out one at a time. One tape usually will make about 2 or 3 episodes worth of commercials, which is around 8 to 12 minutes for one episode that I put out. So that's what retro commercials is. It's really just a straight rip of commercials or a straight recording of commercials from these tapes into one episode. Now, the Iconic series is different, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. So basically, I will come up with a theme, such as Levi's jeans, or just jeans in general, or potato chips, for example. And what I'll do is I'll find every single one of my commercials that have potato chips in them. And that's it. And then I'll put them all together, and I'll put the year on them, and I'll do some history on them. What I do is I do some Google researching, and I'll find out more about the products. And then I will put them all together and comment on a few of them, maybe, or maybe not. And at least I will have an intro or ending where I comment on the material, and that's it. So that's what Iconic series is about. It's really taking a theme and taking the best of that theme and putting them into one commercial, one video, and then sharing them with you all, which I think is a lot of fun. So my next Iconic series will be jeans, for example, and I'll be sharing every single jeans commercial from the past, well, from a decade. I don't span 1 or 2 decades. I usually just keep it within 1 decade. So if I do like jeans from the 80s, you'll see stuff from Levi's, from Jordache, from Gap, from Bugle Boy. No, that was 90s. Bugle Boy was 90s. Guess. No, that was 90s as well. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying. So that's what the Iconic series is, for those of you who didn't know. And I do a different type of branding on those episodes as well, with the intro and the music and everything. So anyway, in case y'all were wondering, so let's go back to these questions and comments. '80s commercial vault wasn't very nice to me. He got offended by a well-meaning comment I made. I'm not going to bash '80s commercial vault. I don't know him personally, but from the comments I have seen and his about information, I don't think he likes to interact with folks too much, and that's just the way he is. I don't see him, by the way, I don't see him as my competition. I don't think anybody in the retro community is my competition. I don't see it that way. My goal, first and foremost, is to broaden people's minds to the whole retro community that we have. But going back to that one comment about him, I have seen that in the comments from his page before. Favorite '80s sitcom. Oh, wait. Did you see the request for another commercial CD? Greg Sutphin. I think he meant DVD. Greg. Greg's actually a personal friend of mine. What's up, bro? Glad you could make it, man. Cheers. Cheers. I haven't shaved, so excuse me. I will be making another Retro Commercials DVD, Season 2, sometime in the near future. So, I don't know if y'all know, but if y'all go to shop.davesarchives.com, you will find my Dave's Archive online store where I sell stickers. I really haven't worked on it much. It's been there for a couple years now, but I have a DVD out there that I sell, which is season one, and season one is I think it's 18 to 22 episodes of my content that I put out as a season one, and I plan to put out all of my content on DVD for you guys at a later time. Just right now, because of production stuff that I'm working on with my new content, Jordash, thank you. I'm not working on that now, but the store is back up. I had taken it down because of the COVID pandemic and that sort of thing, but the store is back up. So for those of you who do want to get season one DVD of retro commercials that's out there, as well as my stickers that I sell, it's a Dave's Archives logo, as well as a some artwork out there. So anyways, that's that. How much space is on your agreement media? Oh, let me scroll up a little bit. Favorite 80s sitcom. My favorite 80s sitcom, as I remember it, as a so there's two ways of answering that. So I think people had, as a kid, they had their favorite 80s sitcom, and as an adult, we now have our favorite 80s sitcom. So, as a kid, my favorite 80s sitcom was Silver Spoons. As an adult, my favorite 80s sitcom is The Jeffersons. Man, I love this Jefferson. Let's see here. Like I've told you before, Dave, you have the best. Thank you for what you do and what you show us. Brian 70 Kuda, you're welcome, man. Thank you. Dave, how much space is on your hard drive? 10 terabytes, 15 terabytes, 20 terabytes? Do you have a NAS? No, I have a horrible setup, to be honest. I have like, you know what? I don't have anything that's organized in any way. I have a couple SSDs, and they're both around 2 terabytes each, and I dump everything on those that I use now. And then for my old content, all my archived content, I have a 6 terabyte hard drive that I have backed up to. And some of my material is backed up to the cloud using iDrive. But I wish I had a much better setup. It's just a poor man's setup, honestly. Wrangler, yes, Wrangler jeans. Yes, that's what I was trying to remember. I was trying to remember Wrangler jeans. Guess jeans. Yes, Guess jeans. That's right. Let's see here. David Anderson, are you going to do more Dave's Archives bumpers? Because I love that unique feature to your episode. Yes. Thank you for that. Oh my God. You're the first person who's ever said that. So my Dave's Archives bumpers and commercials, I will be making new content for them. And the stuff I have out there now is just really, it was kind of last minute. It wasn't really what I imagined it to be. What I imagine my Dave's Archives commercials and bumpers to be are something that are throwback quality and something that has a lot more production value. So I actually want to create real commercials for my own channel. I think it's hilarious doing that, and it's not only is it hilarious, it's twofold. It's I'm putting commercials, my commercials, within these old ass commercials. And at the same time, I want to make them have a look and feel of those old ass commercials and kind of funny. So I haven't gotten to that yet, but I'm working on that. For example, I'm working on one for my Dave's Archives, just Dave Archives. And I'm working on one for my Patreon. And I'll be working on commercials. Well, here's a secret. I haven't told anyone, but I want to create commercials for other retro YouTubers. So, for example, if there's a retro YouTuber that I follow that does toys, I want to create a commercial for that person and then put that commercial inside of as a commercial segment within my commercial episodes. I think it'll be a lot of fun. The only trade-off is I want them to put my commercials in between their content as a commercial. It'll be a fair trade, I think. I think that's fair, right? I'm not asking for money or anything. Let's see. When the girls look great in jeans. Guess jeans. Yeah, I remember. I have just been watching your videos for weeks, and I thought you were the one with who's a pirate in your videos. You know what's funny? I've had a few. Deckard Wizard said he thought I was the person who was the pirate in my bumpers. I wish I were. I wish I were that smart to come up with those weird, cheesy little breaks in between my videos. I wish I were that person. I'm not Ray Stevens. Ray Stevens gets... He is who he is because of that. But I love his stuff. Let's see here. What was a toy I liked to play with when I was younger? So my dad spoiled me with some pretty good toys. My favorite toys were definitely the... it kind of goes with the anime when I was a kid, the Japanese cartoons, as I called them, Voltron and stuff. There's these Voltron toys that Sears and JCPenney sold, especially during the holidays, that really no one understood what they were. But there are these really intricate robot toys that you could take apart and form into other things, like Transformers. Transformers is my other favorite toys. But definitely these Japanese import things like Voltron and Voltrus and... I can't remember. There's Robotech toys that were great too. But my dad found them for me when I was a kid. God bless him. And I'm very thankful for that because, you know, a lot of kids didn't have nice toys like that. Let's see. You're a genius. I don't think that was to me, but if it was, I don't think so, but thank you. Yeah, it's awesome that there's your own commercials during the commercials. You know what's... Acro B said that. You know what's funny about that? Is that there are a lot of hate comments about that. They're really vile, evil, hateful comments. I mean, the names they call me for that. But it just makes me want to do more. Yes. I can't remember who that guy is in your retro commercials. That's Ray Stevens. Brian 70 Cuda. Maybe? I don't know. Get a 1 terabyte M.2 SSD. It's $100 on Amazon. Do a test run with Ion TV. I'll check it out, Raymond. Thank you. 1 terabyte SSD. I love the Dave's Archives bumpers. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. See, I'm getting love for that. I worked so hard on it. Hi, okay, say here, Micronauts. Oh my God, Micronauts. My dad got me a bucket. So they weren't new. So one Christmas, part of my stocking stuffer was this little tube full of toys, like a plastic tube. And the toys weren't new, they were used. I don't know where he got them from. But Micronauts were in there, and I'd never seen them before. And I was like, whoa, these things are pretty cool, because you could see through the plastic. It was like translucent, and it was just very unique. And parts were metal, like die cast. I thought they were the coolest things. I didn't know what they were, because obviously there was no packaging, so I had no way to identify them. Bugle Boys founded in '77 and was huge in the '80s. And yes, I meant that genius comment about doing commercials for other retro commercials. Oh, thank you, David. Yes. It's been something that's been stirring around, and I do plan on doing it 100%. It's just a matter of when and who. Micronauts were the shiznizity. Yes, they were. I was mooned in the second aisle. Okay. Let's see here. By the way, guys, I'm going to get a refill, so excuse me for just 1 second. All right. By the way, it's Friday. It's not like I'm an alcoholic or anything. I just enjoy my Fridays like everybody else. Corona Premier or Truly Hard Seltzer? Which one has more alcohol in it? That's a quiz question. Because I don't know myself. Oh, okay. Well, I don't see an alcohol content on this one. I don't know what Corona is. I just know it's 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. But the Truly Hard Seltzer is 5% alcohol. So, that sounds good. Cheers. And I hope y'all are having a wonderful Friday, by the way. I know during these times, and by the way, I've had a few folks ask and comment about why don't I address any of the current issues going on in the world around us. So my channel is not meant for that. My channel has its sole purpose is to escape from that. So that's my answer to that. And cheers. Okay. You're way younger than I thought. Still love the vids. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I am in my 40s. And I would like to think of myself as being young. Yes. Can you post more 70s? ZA. That's a good question. The 70s commercials were totally different from the 80s, as were the 80s from the 90s. But the 70s were so much so. When you see a 70s commercial, you can immediately identify it as a 70s commercial. And there's a beauty behind it because I remember the 70s as a kid. Even though I was born in 76, I definitely remember those times. I don't have baby memories, but I remember crawling around. And I remember the 70s, and you identify those 70s with the 70s commercials for sure. I wish I had more. I would love to put up more 70s commercials if I had them. Serious from Super Mega Retro Dudes. Serious question, Dave. Ever accidentally uncover some couple's homemade porn on tape? Not yet. So I do have about maybe 4 or 5 Betamax tapes. So I haven't found anything on VHS, but Betamax, there's quite a few. Well, I won't say quite a few. There's about 4 or 5 that I have that are straight up 70s, pure 70s, 80s porn. And the funny thing about it is those sets were so elaborate. I mean, on Instagram, I subscribe to folks who post 80s interiors because I love everything 80s. I love the interiors, the design, the whole, aesthetic of 80s. And in porn, they really did it up well. So, yeah, I'm hanging on to those ones. Hanging on to those. Hopefully, okay, I can imagine it happening. Okay, let's see. From R.W. Baker 316. My wife, born and raised in Honduras, also loved watching them. She grew up with the bootleg satellite dish that had all of our channels in the same commercials. Hilarious that she can remember those. You know what's funny? R.W. Baker, a cousin of mine in Minnesota, they had a satellite dish that was also hacked or had a bunch of channels they shouldn't have. And there was some crazy programming back then. Actually, you know what? I remember seeing a movie recently that was about... Okay, if anyone of y'all can answer this, because I forgot the name of the movie. But it was a really good movie. And it was cheesy, but it was really good cheesy. It had the Ferris Bueller principle in it. I forgot his name. And it had, I can't remember the other actors' names, but basically, it had the guy from Three's Company. How can I forget? Ritter? John Ritter. And the movie was in the 80s, and it's basically about this satellite dish salesman from hell who sells him a satellite dish that gets hundreds and hundreds of channels that are off. Stay tuned. That's right. Oh, Burn TV 2. Thank you, all of y'all. Damn, y'all are good. We need to do some trivia stuff. That's not my thing, but y'all are good. I need to go to y'all guys. Yeah, that was a really good movie. I love that movie. I need to watch it again. I just watched it like a week ago. It was really, I had never heard of it, and I was so surprised that I've never heard of it. Really good movie, by the way. Let's see. 1980s here. Yes, thank you. That was from Beehaven in the Beehive. Grim video. Hopefully, some of you Retcom compatriots are available to be reached. Have you ever reached out to Stevations, Ion TV, and others? No, but Grayman TV, if you don't mind, I'm going to take that information and copy it into my text pad. Jeez, I feel old. My text pad. So that I can look for them later on YouTube, because I am in a quest to find more retro YouTubers. We need to collaborate for sure. REW actually asked me about that the other day. So I need to get back to him on seeing if he's actually interested in doing that. I don't know if he was asking because he was interested or if he was curious, but Old School Shinobi, these are retro commercials. Why would you do current political commentary? Exactly. But some people expect it. They just want to voice their opinion, I guess. Thank you for keeping your nostalgic, in real life nostalgic, my friend. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome, Grayman. Grayman Media, by the way, I subscribe to a lot of YouTubers. I don't remember all their names. I have a really bad habit. I forget names, but I don't forget faces. So I don't know if you have a YouTube channel that I am subscribing to you now actively, and if I am, when I see your channel, I'll go, oh yeah, that's it. But I'll follow up with you, because if you are, maybe we should collab too. Beehive in the Beehive, I am 40. I'm older than you. 40 is a great year, by the way. You're still considered very young. That's what my mom tells me. Bless her heart. Old School Shinobi, I love commercials from 1980, 1990. You get a snippet of both decades. So that reminds me, and y'all, I'm asking y'all here live now, because it's an easy way to ask this question, is, so I focus mostly on 80s and 90s, mostly 80s content. And 90s, I love the 90s. I absolutely love the 90s. And I would love to put them into my new content more. Would you like to see more 90s stuff? I know that some people has said things like, if it's 90s, it's not retro or vintage. Well, that's not true, because as we get older, the decades become, our newer decades become older as well. So it's a shift. So I love 90s. Even though I wasn't a kid really in the 90s, more of a teen, young adult, I have a lot of memories from that period, and the 90s is so unique. And you know what? The 2000s in 10 years will be unique as well. So I should actually start looking at 2000s recordings as well. But the thing with the 2000s is there's a shift between VHS to digital, to DVRs. And no one's really talking about this, and I guess I'll talk about it now. The 2000s, 2010s, there's a shift because no one is recording their DVR content off the DVR. So what's going to happen to all that stuff? All of that material, all those TV specials, all of those one-off things that were broadcasted just one time, where are they going? Isn't that a crazy question? Because we have tapes, we have DVDs, well, not DVDs, but we have tapes and so on, but where's that DVR content going? No one's archiving that. There's going to be a gap in archiving in the next 10 years, 20 years. I'm telling you. It's going to be weird. Okay. But I saw a lot of people post about yes to the 90s question. So I will do that. I will add more 90s because I have a lot of it. Stay tuned. That salt and pepper part and stay tuned was loved it. You know, salt and pepper. I had their very first tape. My dad bought it for me. My dad. Man, my dad, I love him. God bless him for all the stuff that he provided me, man. I had that salt and pepper tape, and I listened to the hell out of it. That's for sure. Do I have any crushes as I was a kid, as a teenager? Yes. So, well, in the 80s, I don't know if y'all remember her name. I think every boy who grew up in the 80s had a crush on Megan Fox. Megan Fox. Yes, and we loved BMWs. We loved Megan Fox. We loved those fireballs, those little fireballs, and gobstoppers, and Megan Fox. My music stopped playing. That sucks. 20 years is considered vintage. Marcy Macy. I think so too. Anything over 20. Beehive in the Beehive. I was class of 99. I was class of 95. Fellow compadre. I love the 90s. This channel hasn't done content in 4 years, mostly trying to get an archive set up with 50 terabytes, Greenman Media. Man, good luck to you, man. If you need anything, any help, or whatever, if you want to use me as a sounding board, please contact me. R.W. Baker, great point. Nobody was recording when DVD came out. Yeah, there's a gap. There's definitely a gap. Even now. So, as we watch content now, for example, I got rid of all my cable. I've gotten rid of everything that is subscribed to a mainstream provider. So the only thing I subscribe to is Netflix, YouTube, which is free, and YouTube TV, which is paid for, but I get to share that with 5 family members, and so it becomes very cheap. So, I mean, there's no way for me to save my YouTube TV commercials, you know? So 30 years from now, when people are trying to do retro commercials, if there's going to be something like that, how are they going to get the ads? Because YouTube is not going to keep that content forever. I mean, or at least the channels that upload that content, they're not going to keep it forever. So you got to ask yourself, you know, where are we going to get our nostalgia fix from? It's kind of weird. You know, it's really weird. Maybe I should start working on it. Maybe I should start archiving everything that goes on YouTube now by, I don't know, screen capturing it somehow. But, you know, then you have space issues. Where do I save it? You know, hard drives don't last forever. There's so many problems with this conundrum. Push it real good. Brian 7 Dakota, yes. Push it really good. JNCO jeans, 90s rock. I don't remember that. But I do remember these jeans from the 90s, and I absolutely hate them. Some of you may love them, but I hate them. They start, from, think of a waist down. They almost look like a long dress because they're so wide. Ravers back in the 90s, when you'd go to raves or go to, what was it called in the 90s? Techno raves. The legs were so wide and so big, it would look like a long dress. Anyway, why did I go there? Lots of memories will be had by many of us in the 30s from the 90s. Yes, Kahi, that's true. Marcy Macy, I love the 90s. I also love the 90s. This channel hasn't done... I'm kind of reading old content here. Brian Kuda, I don't listen to music, haven't heard anything but crap. You know what? I feel the same way. Actually, I felt the same way mostly when Britney Spears came on the scene. My sister-in-law is downstairs, and as soon as she heard me say Britney Spears, she made a squeak. Because she loves Britney Spears, but now I'm making fun of Britney Spears. But that whole candy pop culture thing wasn't for me, and I felt like everything after that was kind of like a carbon copy of one another, where there's no originality in music. But today, I think today, at least within the last 2 years, there's a lot more individual artists who are creating some really fantastic stuff that I'm actually into. Specifically, synthwave, synth pop, city pop, dark synth, all that stuff. I'm really into that. I had it playing in the background, but now you just see a screen of weird stuff going on. That back there is actually poolside.fm, which is amazing. They do mashups of old TV programming commercials to this really easy to listen to modern music. You have to visit it to understand what it is, but check it out on your computers, on your browsers. Okay, let's see. I missed a lot of comments here, so I'm going to go back a little bit. Mr. Zog, great channel you have here. Thank you for sharing. By chance, you have Saturday Nightmares from USA channel. Oh my God. So USA channel had a program or a time in the evening that was called Saturday Nightmares, and it was basically a horror segment. On USA. I love USA. USA had so much original programming as far as the venues they would have for certain evenings and certain parts of the week. I loved USA. No. To answer your question, no. But I do have a couple ads from that, a couple bumpers, and I've showed them in previous episodes. Actually, within the past 20 episodes, I think I've shown them once or twice. Up All Night. Do y'all remember Up All Night from USA? Greenman Media. Remember when they did the one-shot specials, holiday specials, sitcom reunion specials, 20-hour celebrity death? Yes, I remember. I wish I had those tapes. Okay, from MAR, where did I get the Napoleon guy stinger in between? I think she's referring to Ray Stevens. Again, see, we have so many people loving the Ray Stevens. So Ray Stevens, just rewind back. So I'm not going to talk about it now, but if you rewind back in this episode, you will find that answer. Ray Stevens, maybe I should just do a complete video on him. Who knows? Here's a question for you. Should I do a historic, nostalgic video about Ray Stevens material? If you'd like to see it, maybe I'll do it. James Taylor, you're awesome. Keep it coming. I'm a big fan of you, James Taylor. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. All right, old school Shinobi, Samantha Fox or Megan Fox? Samantha Fox, my bad, not Megan Fox. Samantha Fox, the one who did all the centerfold stuff. That's right, Samantha Fox. I remember seeing Samantha Fox really ugly graphic. I mean, it was pixelated images on computers back in the early '90s. I'm on Commodore 64. I had a Commodore 64. I remember my dad had some floppy disks that would show these digitized nudes of Samantha Fox with this cheesy music, as cheesy as computer music could be, playing in the background. Class of 89 here, nice. Class of 91, Pauline, nice. Marcy Macy, class of MCM, XCV11. I'm not that smart to understand that one, but I know it's near that year, I'm sure. R.W. Baker 316, maybe it's time to scavenge old TiVos. You know what's funny? I don't know about you guys, but I will try to go to the local thrift store, to the local Goodwill to do my thrifting, because it's just not tapes that I look for. It's pretty much anything that's retro. And I see a lot of old DVRs, the TiVos. I see a lot of them. So maybe you're right. I should buy those and see if I can take the drives out and get that video content. That's a great idea. That's a really good idea. I'm going to do that. I see them often. And they sell for nothing. I mean, they sell for like $2 or $3. Breakfast Club member, like McDonald's. I'm loving it. Yes. I'm going to be doing an episode about McDonald's commercials because they pretty much owned all of the airspace of ads back in the day, and they still do today. But there are so many great commercials from that period, from the 80s especially so. You know, my favorite McDonald's ads were the ones that took place in the mornings, the breakfast commercials, because commercials start with like a landscape view of the restaurant, and it's like a jingle. You're starting off in the day, and then the sun is just cresting, and then it goes into this hot coffee scene with a guy's pouring coffee, and then maybe there's like this hot steaming patty of meat with a bun, and it just I don't know what it is, but it's the breakfast ads that really kept me going. I love those nostalgic breakfast ads, especially the coffee ones too. I have one tape from 2001 and 2000, The Norm Show. Oh, how many of y'all remember The Norm Show? My gosh. The Paul Green Show, for that matter. Why, Brian? Yep, those are the Jinko You're Deceiving. Wow, lots of questions I'm missing here. USA Up All Night was amazing, I agree. USA Up All Night commercials. There was a great show called USA High on USA Network. Can't remember her. Love Ray Stevens. Danny Emmons. Do you have Flight Night videos from USA Network? Oh my gosh. Flight Night videos from USA Network. I remember that. That was... really, the bumpers were amazing. I remember the bumpers from that. Grayman Video. Dave, are you going to be tempted to show your local commercials? My local ads. Well, my more recent ads have been from local, if that's what you're asking, from Houston. But I haven't been putting Houston in them. I'm not putting this TV station as much as I was before, where the commercials are coming from, nor am I putting down the time and the commercial and what's happening in each commercial in the description as much. Mainly because I think it's more for the folks who are into archiving than it is for the general demographic of folks who watch my channel, but I'm gonna have to do it eventually just for archiving purposes. James Taylor, USA was all night commercials. USA up all night commercials. I wish I had those. Excuse me. If any of all have old tapes that you wouldn't mind sharing with me or sending to me, I would love to have those, especially like USA up all night commercials, because those are really hard to find. So contact me. I'll ship it back. I'm not going to keep it. Just let me get those commercials. Old school Shinobi. There was a great show called USA High on USA Network, like Saved by the Bell in Europe. I didn't know there was a Saved by the Bell in Europe, but I didn't know there was a Up All Night High on USA Network as well. I wish I had that. Love Ray Stevens from Pauline Dasher. Beth Di Bartolomeo. Sorry, I just like names. I was never into USA Network. By the time I got cable in 2000, it was declining. I loved watching Highlander reruns on it, though. I have a lot of Highlander trailers, which they're pretty legit. I mean, the production of Highlander wasn't as high as other sci-fi action movies, but the trailers were epic. I mean, they were really, really good. Whoever got paid to put together those trailers, hopefully got paid well. Pauline Dasher, do some hee-haw. I have a few hee-haw episodes. Maybe I should live stream. Maybe I should find those and live stream them for you guys. So the problem with live streaming real content like that, and I've tried it in the past, and for a couple I've been successful, is that immediately YouTube and Facebook recognize it or identify it as copyrighted material, and they shut me down. But I have been successful with live events such as parades and excuse me, local venues that have been on the networks. So maybe I'll try to do those. Beth Di Bartolomeo. I can remember a lot of La Femme Nikita. Yeah, me too. And WWF promos. You know, La Femme Nikita is a tape that you would never ever see off the shelves at your local rental store. So your local VHS rental store always had certain tapes in their inventory. La Femme Nikita. What's the other one? Something Angel, where there's this girl who had to go into prostitution to pay for being a student. There's like these B flicks and not so much B flicks, like low grade A flicks, that were always on the shelves. They would never leave. There's another one. It was like this romance steamy movie called man, I can't remember it. But it was one that you would just never leave the shelves. It would be like 88, it's there. And in 94, it's still there. Why? Why? Why is it still there? It's really good. Mary Stankovaj? Yes, Stankovaj. To do yes to a historic nostalgic video about Ray Stevens. I should do it. Oakland Shinobi, Highlander was awesome. I think so too. Beth Di Bartolomeo. I'm just going to call you Beth. Highlander was so good until the end of season 5. I didn't know there were seasons. I thought there were only movies. Mar, I would love to see a parody of old commercials directed by you, Dave. Thank you. Me too. I would like to make commercials directed by me. I actually have experience making ads professionally for businesses. I'm not going to talk about it because it's really boring, but Yeah, I did the whole thing from storyline to directing to budgeting to filming, audio, everything. Comedy Central was Shishish. That's some Just Free Starters. All right. From Julian Jarris. Any insights you've noticed of how advertising has changed throughout time? Yes. And that's what Then and Now is going to be about exclusively. It's going to be comparing how basically the ad culture of whatever generation, for example, 1979, and then comparing it to the ad culture of today, which is anything from 2010 and newer. And that's what my show is about. But yes, that's why I made the show, because there's such a change, a shift, a pivot in how they make ads and how the people act and how they're written, how they're directed, how the cinematography done, everything. I kind of feel bad for the future generation because our ads now don't have the campiness, the cheesiness that the 80s had or the 90s had. And that's what made them so special. Now everything has to be a cinematic a cinematic story, something that's so evolved and on another level that it has to beat the thing before it. And I don't remember those. I remember the cheesy stuff. Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who, but you know what's funny about Doctor Who? It scared me. That music scared me when I was a kid. That ooh, that for some reason it creeped me out. So it always when I heard it, it would kind of scare me as a child. I was a very scareable child, I guess. From Mary Stankovic. Other than Ronald McDonald, which McDonald character was your favorite? Mine is Birdie, the early bird. That's easy. Mine is easily, I'm stalling here because I'm trying to remember his name. Easily, McBurglar. McBurglar. I loved McBurglar. Oh man, I love the old McDonald's restaurants. I love the old restaurants altogether. You walk into them. I can almost smell it. You know what's funny about those old restaurants back then? Is that not that I condone smoking in a restaurant and all that, or just smoking in general. But as a child, most establishments, and not McDonald's, I'm just kind of going off tantrum here, but most establishments where they served food also served beer, and obviously they let you smoke. And that smoke smell, mixed in with people, mixed in with the smell of people, mixed in with the smell of the food, mixed in with the smell of the drinks, it had a certain smell that you cannot smell anywhere else. It's so weird. It's hard to explain. But about 5 years ago, I went into an area of outside of Houston that still allowed smoking in the restaurant. And immediately, a nostalgic wave of remembrance came over me because that smell of intermingled smoke with food and drinks and people, it was like a punch in the face of nostalgia. It was so weird. Not that I like that smell in particular. It's just that it brings back so many memories. I don't know why I even talked about that. Why did I mention that? I really liked USA's Horrors on Friday and Saturday, even if the good parts were edited. I was a kid, it amazed me still. I don't remember watching that as a kid. I wish I had tapes of it, though, that's for sure. Weird Science. I love Weird Science. Oh man, I love Weird Science. From Brian 70 Cuda, Dave, your voice is so smooth. Hey, can you hear that over the phone? This is my phone. But I appreciate it. Thank you. Have you given radio a shot? No, but I've done podcasting before. The only problem with that is the folks I was podcasting with, we sort of broke up and we left it as that. So we never really followed up on it. But I've always enjoyed doing things where there's a spoken voice. Let's just put it that way. From Beehive and the Beehive, have you seen Doctor Who? I've only seen parts of it as a child, only parts. But I wish I had. I wish I had gotten to that whole Doctor Who movement. You know, Chaz Bolt asked a really good question. Do you think an up all night style show could exist now, or was it specific to basic cable television? Now, even that last part of the sentence, it struck a memory of the movie called VHS. No, UHF. With the guy Kramer from Seinfeld. Anyway, going on a tangent here. Going back to your question. Yes, I think it could absolutely do well. Reason being is because the only reason a certain streaming service provider who makes streaming shows and re-shows horror flicks is surviving right now is because of that. And let me get my phone, and I'll share that with you. Actually, I'll just go here to my Instagram. So there is I don't know if y'all saw this back in the day, but there is a show called, if I can find him. Okay, Joe Bob Briggs. Do y'all remember Joe Bob Briggs? I know a lot of y'all do. Joe Bob Briggs, his show bounced around a bit back in the 90s. I think it was sold and bought by one or two different cable shows. But he has a show or a segment, The Drive-In, The Last Drive-In. That's right. Let's go back to my channel. The Last Drive-In. So he really did a lot of commentary before and throughout these cheesy B-flick campy horror movies. And the set was just perfect. I mean, he had this wonderful set. It looked like he was outside in a campfire that was, I mean, it was just really done well. And his shtick was that he was this city cowboy who had an appeal for the horror masses because, one, he was funny. He knew his horror movies. And 3, he had lovely women, beautiful women on his show. And 4, I hate people who use numbers to bullet point, but I'm doing it now. But he had this really well-rounded package of entertainment, and it did really, really well. And it got killed off in the mid-90s because there was a shift of culture. But he's back at it now, and he's on... What channel is it? Someone help me out. He's on a streaming channel that does horror stuff. And they're only surviving because of his content. And he does that late night style commentary and show and everything for a certain provider of streaming content. What's it called? Darn it. If my memory weren't so shoddy, I have such a shoddy memory. Shudder is the service provider. I say service provider. They're the streaming provider that does nothing but they focus on horror stuff. And their star attraction is Joe Bob Briggs, who does The Last Drive-In, which is a redo of his 90s late night show. And yes, to answer your question, yes, it can do well because he's doing extremely well. and people want to see that a resurgence of that type of material, and so do I. I subscribe to it. Obviously, can't remember it. Let's see. John Y. Most of the ads today are prescription meds or ambulance chasing lawyers. Man, there's really, I mean, when you compare ads today to yesterday, it really has changed quite a bit. I mean, there could be a couple documentaries just covering that shift, that change. Old school Shinobi. Everything now has a too cool for school attitude. It's true. When I watch anything now, I feel like I'm lame. I, I, I feel like I'm so lame. There's no point trying to catch up with anything. But you're right. Especially on Instagram, you notice people taking their selfies, and you look at them and like. And anyway. Pauline Dasher, one positive is that the diversity in the commercials of today, you see gay people and mixed race couples a lot. That is true. You know, there were quite a few ads that tried to do that. Even in not specifically ads, but TV programming that tried to do that back in the day, and they did well. It just depended on what network and where they were representing and so on. Hamburglar. Weird Al on UHF. That's right, Weird Al Yankovic. That's one of my favorite movies of the time, by the way. Beth de Bartolomeo. I used to have a lot of VHS tapes, but I gave some away, and when I got the different series I taped on DVD, I never thought ads could be so valuable or nostalgic. Me neither. It's weird how things have changed. It's weird what people find valuable today compared to the day when they were, and you never would have thought about it, you know? Remember those flimsy gold metal ashtrays? Yes, I do. There's a whole conversation going about these ashtrays. James Taylor, those juicy fruit commercials get your skis shined up. Oh my God. Okay, so there's one thing I hate about my ads. So I won't say hate. So a lot of the tape transfers that I do are so bloated with bubblegum ads. And it's not new material. It's like they'll reuse the same ad for like an entire decade. I mean, you'll see something from 82 that is still running it in 94. And he just quoted a part of a jingle that was from the Juicy Fruit ads. Get your skis shined up. I'm sorry, it's really funny. It's funny because I see it. Oh man. Get your skis shined up. Oh man. James Taylor, they should bring back Real Saturday Morning. I would love to be able to watch. You know what? You know what's funny about that, James? And I was talking to my wife about that a couple of years ago or so. Once it clicks with one of these execs at any of these cable stations or any of these streaming stations, that hey, you know what? Everybody loves vintage and retro stuff right now. Why don't we redo Saturday morning cartoons? Why don't we have a segment for Saturday morning cartoons and remake it just like it was back in the 90s and 80s? Why haven't they done it yet? It's $1 million idea. They should. I would have a watch party just for that. I'd bust out the cereal boxes. You know, the milk. I'll have a variety of milk. It's funny how the 80s is basically recalled through the scent of cigarettes. That's kind of true. It's kind of true. You know, what's funny is that they pretty much banished all smoking ads in the 80s. I think the last ones were in the 90s, and they just disappeared from the face of the earth. Again, not that I support them. I don't support getting out and cancering up your body, but everybody has a body and they can make their own decisions. Grayman Media says, that'll never happen. James, cartoons are on cable TV now. But, man, going back to that, what if a cable, not even a cable, what if a national TV like CBS or ABC did something on Saturday morning where they, just for retro's sake, where they recreated 1985 morning cartoon segment with modern cartoons, but recreated everything else, and even the ads in between the cartoons were all toys and children's related ads. You know, dude, I would be so happy. I would be. Do you have any Friday night videos from what I think was on ABC? I don't think so. Only if I can have my ET cereal. Oh my god, I never had ET cereal. I wish I did. I never got the cool cereals. I got the crummy cereals. This is what I got for cereal. Because my mom bought the groceries. I got bran flakes. No, bran raisin. No, okay. Post raisin, which was the most delicious cereal, which is the worst for some of you. I got your boring flakes, which had no sugar, no nothing. And I had frosted mini wheats. And that was the only cereal my mom would buy. It would be nothing else. Nothing. I hated it. I was jealous of my friends. They had the best cereal, you know? I can almost remember all the words of the Juicy Fruit commercials. Yeah, me too. I mean, they played it about 1 billion times. I haven't seen the Family Guy Juicy Fruit parody. I need to look out for that. Old school cereal commercials are the best. That's from Sign Wolf. By the way, Sign Wolf, have you seen my iconic... Sorry, someone's talking to me downstairs. Have you seen my iconic cereal video? It's a really good one. Check it out. Let's see. Chad Bolt. It's kind of sad that with the budget of today's ads, why there's next to no creativity. Well, I just think they've shifted to a different creative team, that's for sure. Marcy Macy, why don't these retro commercials like METV show old commercials too? Some ads are timeless. I agree. I don't know why. Old School Shinemi, you can market toys to kids via cartoons as long as you do a PSA at the end. PSA. Captain Vitamin. My sister always requested frosted mini wheats as a kid. I never understood its appeal. Me neither. But you know what? They are kind of good once you soak them in milk and do a milk bath for about 10 minutes, and only then do they start to hold some type of worth. All right, that's my timer. That's my physical timer. She just walked up, so that's my physical timer that I have to stop soon, even though they should be in bed. Fruit Loops, public announcement. I love cereal. That's your idea. Just love being around people who actually can connect with me. James Taylor. All right, guys. So, quite a few of you are still on. I wish I could stay on more. I have some family downstairs that are irking to get back up here in the second floor and, I don't know, do something. But anyway, thank you so much for subscribing. Thanks so much for following and supporting. I'm going to do, like I said earlier, yes, Greenman, I'm going to do more. This was fun. The reason why it's fun for me is because with like-minded folks such as yourself who enjoy the sort of thing, I can really connect and rekindle and talk about those things that I love, our pasts. And so I'm going to be doing this a bunch more, along with the new material, which will be Then and Now, be coming out on Sunday, by the way, for those of you who didn't hear earlier. And I'm also going to be doing new content for retro reviews. So, again, guys, y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy everything, and most of all, as always, stay retro, my friends. I'll see y'all next time. Now, how do I turn this off?